Hello and welcome students to today's topic. Today we are going to discuss about dynamic and laissez-faire leadership. The objectives of the lesson are understanding the dynamic or paternalistic style of leadership, understanding the laissez-faire leadership or free-rein style of leadership. Introduction. The quality of leadership makes a significant difference in organizations, institutions, corporations, schools, colleges, or higher educational institutions, and the student outcomes. It is obvious and has been recognized in many parts of the world that organizations and institutions require effective leaders and managers if they are to provide the best possible services and ensure the best citizenry. The growth of nations depends on highly skilled workforce who requires trained personnel, and they, in turn, need the leadership of highly effective persons with the support of other senior and middle-level managers. Keith Davis, in his well-known book Human Behavior at Work, defines leadership as leadership is the ability to persuade others to seek defined objectives enthusiastically. It is the human factor which binds a group together and motivates it towards goals. Managers are leaders operating in organizations. Leadership means planning, integrating, and controlling. Leaders can be formal. For example, a manager who occupies a particular position in organizational hierarchy. Leaders can be informal and are chosen by a group. All managers are leaders when accepted by a group, but all leaders are not managers. The ideal leader is one who combines the formal and informal leadership simultaneously. We can thus say that a leader, a manager, creates an environment in which a large number of people work for a common purpose. This she or he achieves through scheduling, planning, organizing, resource allocation, and other actions. Laissez-faire or free-rein style of leadership. Laissez-faire leaders are characterized as uninvolved with their followers and members. In fact, laissez-faire leadership is an absence of leadership style. Leaders of this style make no policies or group-related decisions. Instead, group members are responsible for all goals, decisions, and problem solving. Laissez-faire leaders have very little to no authority within their group organization. Laissez-faire leadership, also known as delegative leadership, is a type of leadership style in which leaders are hands-off and allow the group members to make the decisions. Researchers have found that this is generally the leadership style that leads to the lowest productivity among group members. A free-rein or laissez-faire leader does not lead but leaves the group entirely to itself. The leader avoids using power and entrusts the decision-making authority to his subordinates. Under this type of leadership, maximum freedom is allowed to subordinates. They are given free hand in deciding their own policies and methods and to make independent decisions. The leader provides help only when required by the subordinates. Otherwise, he or she never interferes in their work. The leader or manager exists as a contact person for his or her group to collect the information and provide resources when needed by the group to accomplish the job assigned. This type of leadership creates self-confidence in the workers and provides them an opportunity to develop their talents. But it may not work under all situations with all workers. Such leadership can be employed with success where workers are competent, sincere, and self-disciplined. A free-rein leadership operates on the following assumptions. Number A, the leader follows the rule of minimum exposure to accountability. B, the leader relieves him or her of responsibilities and is ready to blame the subordinates if something goes wrong. C, the leader has no clear idea of the goals to be attained. Characteristics of laissez-faire leadership. Number 1, very little guidance from leaders. 2, complete freedom for followers to make decisions. 3, leaders provide the tools and resources needed. 4, group members are expected to solve problems on their own. 5, power is handed over to followers, yet leaders take the responsibility for the group decisions or actions. Benefits of laissez-faire leadership. Like other leadership styles, the delegative style has both benefits and shortcomings. The benefits are: 1. Laissez-faire leadership can be effective in situations where group members are highly skilled, motivated, and capable of working on their own. 2. Group members are experts and have the knowledge and skills to work independently. They are capable of accomplishing tasks with very little guidance. 3. The delegative style can be particularly effective in situations where group members are actually more knowledgeable than the group leader. 4. This kind of autonomy sometimes makes people in group more satisfied with their work and they produce good work. 5. The laissez-faire leadership style can be used in situations where followers have a high level of passion and intrinsic motivation for their work. Shortcomings of laissez-faire leadership. 1. Laissez-faire leadership is not ideal where group members lack the knowledge or experience they need to complete tasks and make decisions. 2. Some people are not good at setting their own deadlines, managing their own projects, and solving problems on their own. In such situations, projects can go off track and deadlines can be missed when team members do not get enough guidance or feedback from leaders. 3. In some situations, the laissez-faire leadership style leads to poorly defined roles within the group. Since team members receive little to no guidance, they might not really be sure about their role within the group and what they are supposed to be doing with their time. 4. Laissez-faire leaders are often seen as uninvolved and withdrawn, which can lead to a lack of cohesiveness within the group. Since the leader seems unconcerned with what is happening, followers sometimes pick up on this and express less care and concern for the project. 5. Some leaders might even take advantage of this style as a way to avoid personal responsibility for the group failures. Dynamic leadership or paternalistic leadership. The essence of dynamic leadership is to support and facilitate positive initiatives and change. It is the dynamic leader who creates an environment for change that enables and supports progress and evolution. Because the leader's role is one that encompasses human relationships and exists within an organizational structure, the social and political acumen are important elements that support the essence of dynamic leadership. The dynamic educational leader is responsible for more than meeting expected standards. For example, as a dynamic leader in an educational institution, the principal is accountable for ensuring that effective teaching and learning occur in a learning community. To ensure that this happens, the dynamic educational leader must possess the skills and knowledge that support the evolution and growth of this learning community. For educational leaders to be dynamic, they need to be able to support and implement change that enhances effective teaching and learning and has ongoing benefits for the students. Dynamic educational leaders need to ensure that there is a structure in place that supports effective teaching and learning and allows productive changes to occur. This structure must involve the engagement of students, staff, and parents within that community. The dynamic style of leadership is sometimes referred to as paternalistic style of leadership. Under this style of leadership, the leader assumes that his function is fatherly. His attitude is that of treating the relationship between the leader and his groups as that of a family, with the leader as the head of the family. He helps, guides, and protects all of his subordinates. Dynamic leadership is being studied more and more, and many researchers into it now even try to modify it and call it by a new name, charismatic leadership. Now, what is charismatic leadership? Max Weber, a sociologist, was the first scholar to discuss charismatic leadership. According to him, charisma, meaning gift, is a certain quality of an individual by personality, by virtue of which he or she is set apart from ordinary people and treated as endowed with supernatural, superhuman, or at least specifically exceptional powers or qualities. The first researcher to consider charismatic leadership in terms of OB, that is organizational behavior, was Robert House. According to House's charismatic leadership theory, followers make attributions of heroic or extraordinary leadership abilities when they observe certain behaviors. Key characteristics of charismatic leaders. 1. Vision and articulation. They have a vision which is expressed as an idealized goal. 2. Personal risk. Such leaders are willing to take on a personal risk, incur high costs, and engage in self-sacrifice to achieve the vision. 3. Sensitivity to followers' needs. They are perceptive of others' abilities and responsive to their needs and feelings. 4. Unconventional behavior. They engage in behavior that are perceived as novel and counter to norms sometimes. Thank you and hope you have enjoyed today's lecture.